Welcome to Talking Technology with VI Labs. At VI Labs, we believe technology is the single greatest enabler for people with sight loss and all disabilities. If you're looking for the latest news and conversation on tech from a more accessible perspective, you've come to the right place.
Yes, indeed you have. Hello everybody and welcome in to episode 80 of Talking Technology with VI Labs. We are into the 80s already, which is awesome to see. And we're celebrating with lovely weather as well, which is always fun to see. We've had some lovely sunshine over the past couple of days here in Ireland. So yeah, things are going good. And hey, we've got a great show to celebrate as well. We're going to be talking to Karthik Kannan in a little bit. You may remember Karthik was on the podcast with us before. Karthik works for Envision. In fact, he's a founder, one of the co-founders of Envision. They, I suppose, best known for their Envision Glasses. But if you were listening in episode 79, we were talking about a new app that they have out called Envision Ally. So Karthik will be telling us all about the Envision Ally and what the future looks like for Envision later on in the show as well. And of course, as always, we'll have your latest talking technology news to come as well, which should be fun. So we shall dive right in and hope you enjoy the next hour or so of talking technology. But hey, reminder that we always love to hear your thoughts on what's going on in the world of technology, maybe some new technology that you've tried. We'd love if you would share your perspective with us. And hey, there are loads of ways that you can get in touch with us. So if you would like to join the conversation, get in touch, tell us what you think of some of the technology that's out there or something you saw in the news. We'd love to hear from you. The number that you need if you want to send us a WhatsApp voice note is 086 199 0011. That's 086 199 0011. Or you can feel free, if you prefer, to get in touch with us by email. You can do that by reaching out to content@vi.ie. That's content@vi.ie. And either way, we would absolutely love to hear from you via WhatsApp, email, or any other way that you find you can get in touch with us. We'd love to hear from you and hear your thoughts. But joining me now to go through some of the correspondence that you've sent our way in the weeks gone by, I'm joined from Kilkenny by Mr. Joe Lonigan. Joe, how are you?
Hi David, how are you?
Not too bad, Joe. So, Joe, busy couple of weeks in the technology world. We'll have a lot to cover over the course of the show. But one of the things that we talked about in our last episode was we were mentioning AirTags. And Edvard got in touch with us, Joe, to share his perspective on AirTags because he recently got AirTags for his birthday. Here's what Edvard had to say to us.
Hi guys, I completely forgot to let you know about one of the gadgets that I got until I heard you mentioning it in the last episode of your podcast, and that is an AirTag. I got it the days before my birthday. It's a great thing, I have to say. Like, I've attached it to my keys, I've attached it to my cane, and I've also kind of put one into my little man bag that I have. I got like a 4-pack. There wasn't an option to choose whether I wanted 2 or 3, because 2 or 3 would have been great, but I couldn't really choose it when I was in the Apple Store app. How many exactly did I want? I only had an option 1 or 4. But I have to say, it is a great thing. I will be probably in touch with you guys next year about how to change the battery on that thing, because I did hear that the battery is not rechargeable and that it's actually quite simple to change. But I have like 1 year to go with a brand new battery as well. And when I get a new battery, I'll be asking you guys how to change it. Unless you guys want to answer that question now, I don't mind. But yeah, no, it's a great thing. I can just say to Siri, find my cane or find my keys. Although, if I do say find Edward's cane. It says I couldn't find an item Edward's case or something like that. It mishears me saying cane. I'm sure you know what Siri is like. But yeah, that's what I have now.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Edvard. And belated happy birthday as well. Hope you had a good celebration there. But Joe, new AirTags, really handy bits of kit.
Yeah, I share my sentiments to Edvard. A belated happy birthday. We learned a lot about Edvard in that message. He has a man bag and AirTags and all that kind of stuff. So that's a lovely voice message.
Not a massive Siri fan as well.
Thanks very much, Edvard, for the voice note. No, he's not a massive Siri fan, and I sometimes I share them thoughts because like Siri, probably worse than some of the other virtual assistants, does give you back some funny answers, or mishears you sometimes, or fails to even get to the server. But anyway, when it does work well, it does work well. So we'll get to the question that he'd like to get answered now, which is changing the battery. So I suppose when you do come to change the battery, it is semi-difficult. It's just you get the hang of it. It's a bit of a knack to it. You have to hold in the polished side, if you know what I mean. So put your finger on the polished side and twist it anti-clockwise until it stops turning, and then the little cover will pop out and you can take out the battery. And then when you put in the new battery, which is a CR2032, have the positive end, so it'll be a plus facing you, have the positive end facing you, and put the cover back on, have the tabs lined up and press it in. And when you have it pressed in and twisted in successfully, you will get a positive tone to let you know that it'll play a sound to let you know that it's successfully battery is successfully replaced and the cover is back on correctly as well. So that's kind of, I suppose, an accessibility tone, you could call it. At least it confirms that the job is complete. So yeah, it's possible to do yourself, but hopefully it won't be for another bones of a year anyway. You'll have to do it, and I'm delighted to hear that you have AirTags, and sorry that they don't come in a 3-pack for you, Edvard, but that's the way it goes.
Yeah, it's a fair point. I think they'll always try to upsell. That's because I think most people would probably purchase 2 or 3, so you might as well make them get 4. But to your point, I've had to replace AirTag batteries 1 or 2 times now. It's not the easiest to do. Like I've definitely see that it being a bit of a challenge. Especially that kind of removing of the actual. The removing of the silvery bit, the kind of polished piece, can be a bit of a challenge, but there is an knack to it, and once you kind of get it done, it is manageable, I think, in most cases. I'd imagine though it would be quite tricky if someone had additional struggles with their hands or hand-eye coordination as well. That could be slightly difficult. But I would love to see a future AirTag, Joe, where you could just charge it. We talked about doing this with like an Apple Watch charger. It seems like it would make sense.
That's so logical. Like we did have that discussion earlier. Even placing the AirTag on top of an Apple Watch puck, it just looks like it would fit so well. It would make sense to me to have a rechargeable battery in it. But I'm sure they've thought of that and maybe it didn't work out or something. It's the replaceable battery, their CR2032, just to let anyone know as well. As far as I know, you can buy them in chemists and stuff like that, but give it a quick Google and you'll find out where to buy them. But I think, that's one for the future. Next update in the AirTag, hopefully Apple is listening to us, and maybe that might be an option for the future. But rechargeable AirTag battery just makes sense, David, doesn't it?
It really does. And chemists and also jewelers tend to have those batteries as well. So Edvard, thank you so much for the voice note. Really appreciate you getting in touch with us, and again, happy birthday. I hope you had a good time. Another piece of correspondence we got in was from Jackie McBrearty. Sent us in a review of a new air fryer that she's gotten, and Jackie got in touch with us by email, so we have roped in Mr. Dennis Nolan to read that for us. Dennis, what did did Jackie have to say?
Yeah, thanks, David, and very much thanks, Jackie, also for this review. So I'm going to start off reading through that, and it goes, I recently purchased the Cosori Smart Air Fryer Twin Fry, 10-litre Grand Zone and Dual Zone, dual blaze to complement my 6.4-litre dual blaze model. While I love my smaller air fryer, I wanted a larger one that could cook 2 different foods simultaneously. Before purchasing, I had 2 main concerns. Number 1, would it work with the VSync app? And number 2, would it fit in my kitchen space? I ordered it from Amazon and the delivery was impressively fast. The first hurdle was cleared. It fit perfectly on my countertop. Pairing it with the VSync app was also smooth, and I was able to do it without any sighted assistance. The app is fully accessible with VoiceOver, making it easy for blind users to navigate. Like my 6.4-litre model, this one cannot be started remotely, so I placed bump-ons on the start button to make it easier to use by touch. I decided to name my new air fryer Edward. When unboxing, I found a divider that slots into grooves inside the basket, allowing it to function as 2 separate cooking zones. Since the total capacity is 10 litres, it offers great flexibility in how you cook. Edward can be used in 3 different ways. The first way is synchronized mode. This lets you cook 2 different foods that require different cooking times, but ensures they finish at the same time. For example, if I cook sausages on one side and chips on the other, I can start the sausages first and the fryer will automatically start the chips later, so they both finish together. The second mode is called match. This cooks the same food in both sections at the same time using the divider. And then the third mode is called Grand Zone mode. This removes the divider, allowing you to use the full 10-litre capacity for larger meals. I still use my 6.4-litre air fryer, Michael, when I only need to cook a single item. However, Edward has quickly become my go-to for bigger meals. I have no regrets about purchasing this device. It's easy to use, accessible for blind users, and offers fantastic versatility. If you're looking for an air fryer that works well with VoiceOver and the VSync app, I highly recommend the Cosori Smart Air Fryer Twin Fry.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Jackie, and thank you, Dennis, for reading. Joe, you've also had a Cosori air fryer, I think, at one point or another. You still find the VSync app works well? A nice little way of accessing an air fryer.
Yeah, the VSync app is, as far as I could see, was 100% accessible with VoiceOver. Yeah, it was. It's a good way of getting that full setting that you need to start your cooking to the air fryer. I think in Jackie's case, you had to press a button to get started, but I think it's Cosori, they're a brilliant model. And I now have a Ninja, but I only had the Cosori on review. So if I was purchasing again, I would go for Cosori. I think that option of being able to have twin fryers like beside each other, and also have an option to take that away and have a grand zone, a bigger zone to cook. That's an amazing option for Jackie, I think, or anybody who's using one, maybe to do a full chicken or something like that.
Yeah.
And I love the way Jackie gives her air fryers pet names.
I know everyone needs to do that.
Cool there.
Yeah, Edward and Michael just become part of the family. I love it. I think it is an interesting point. We have the we did a review before of the Cobalt talking air fryer that I have at home now, and great little air fryer. Don't get me wrong, but it is quite small. I think it's 5.5 litres or 5 litres or something thereabouts. So it's grand if you're single like me, but it won't do a larger family. Now I know Cobalt have released a larger model since, but I think that idea of being able to do 2 different food items in separate sides and have them finish at the same time, that's a really unique, I think, a really handy feature that is quite cool, isn't it?
Brilliant feature, yeah. You're going to want to have more than one item on your dinner plate, so it just makes sense to be able to cook 2 items at once. I suppose general ovens, you can cook 2 items at once, but not at different temperatures. So the air fryer sometimes ends up being a better option than even most conventional ovens.
Yep.
And the important bit, are you going to give your air fryer a name, David?
Do you know what? I probably won't, Joe, simply because mine doesn't have, a smart app companion. The Cobalt talking one doesn't have a companion app where I can name it. But I don't even know what I would name it. Would you give your one a name? What would you call your Ninja?
That's a good question. I might have to think of Q, maybe, seeing as it's intelligent, maybe something James Bondish.
Yeah. Absolutely. Now, I think you could definitely benefit from the alliteration though as well. Like maybe mine will be like Terry, the talking air fryer. Who knows? Something like that, Joe. But yeah, Jackie, again, thank you so much for sending in the review, and glad you're enjoying the new air fryer. It's always great when we get new tech around the house, and it seems everybody's getting new tech this week, whether it's AirTags or air fryers. It really is great to see. So thank you so much for sending that in, folks. Really do appreciate it. And a reminder, if you want to send us in some correspondence about some new tech that you've tried out, come across, heard about, maybe you want to share your perspective on something in the tech news, we'd absolutely love to hear from you. 086 199 0011 on WhatsApp, or content@vi.ie if you would like to get in touch. But for now, let's jump on, shall we? Recently, in a recent episode of Talking Technology, we were talking about the new Ally app from Envision. And Envision have been working on this quite publicly for quite a while now. They've been building this thing quite publicly, but it is finally out. It is available in Ireland. It's slightly hard to find. You do have to search the App Store for Envision Ally. You can't just find it by searching Ally, but by searching Envision Ally, it should show up. And it's a really, really handy tool that is currently at least available for free. And we caught up with Karthik Kannan to tell us all about the new Ally app and what the future looks like for the team over at Envision. Here's what happened when I caught up with Karthik last week. So joining me now on Talking Technology, I am delighted to be joined from Envision by Karthik Kannan. Karthik, how are things?
It's going great, David. Thanks so much for having me on the show. Really appreciate it. And it's always nice to come back and chat with folks who are like AT experts, so we can actually have a really interesting conversation on where things are. And yeah, I always enjoy your conversations on the podcast and off the podcast as well. Yeah, so thanks for having me.
Excellent. No, we're delighted to have you. Are you over at CSUN at the moment?
Yes, I am actually over here in California in my hotel room at the moment because, CSUN is an incredibly noisy place to do a podcast. So I thought, this is just better to do it from here. Absolutely. And it's nice. It's actually rained today, which is very strange. But yesterday and stuff, it was really sunny. So yeah, good first day of CSUN.
Awesome stuff. So I suppose, Karthik, one of the big things that you guys are showing off at CSUN, it's something that we've talked about a little bit on the podcast before, is you've just rolled out a brand new app called Ally. So I suppose to start off, what is Ally?
So Ally is essentially a conversational personal assistant that or an agent that can help a blind or low vision person get stuff done very easily, right? So it is conversational in the sense you can talk to it, using your voice in natural language, like how you and I are having a conversation, right? And you can also text with it. It's personal because you can set a personality to your ally. So Ally lets you create multiple different personalities, and some of them could be funny, some of them could be engaging, some of them could be serious. And there's no really limit to what kind of personalities your allies can have. And Ally also knows a lot about you. So Ally has a bit of a memory where it can over time learn about you. You can give it information voluntarily, right? Or you can also go ahead and just let Ally know over the course of the conversation if you want to steer it a certain way. So that's something that Ally does when it's personal. And Ally is everywhere. So we've got Ally on the web, on the Envision Glasses. We've got Ally on the phone. Every Ally at some point will have its own phone number, and so people can, WhatsApp it if they want to. They can add it on Telegram. They can, talk to it in iMessage, or just give a call to it like how you would call a friend, right? So that's something that we'll eventually have on Ally as well. So Ally is just going to be everywhere, and at all times, Ally is going to be synced. So you could be doing something on your phone, pick that up later on your desktop, or pick that up later, start something with your desktop, and then just go ahead and talk to Ally about it on your glasses, right? So
Yeah.
it just works across different devices.
So this is so much. I mean, we've seen other apps in this space, Seeing AI, Be My AI, and, many others at this point. But this is so much more than an app, because you mentioned there that, Ally is existing in so many different places, but you can even just interact with Ally, even the good old fashioned way over the phone.
Yeah, it's so much more. An app is just a form for Ally, right? I think the way we see how things in the AI era would unfold, I think AI would go far beyond just the devices we currently hold in our hands, right? I think it's something that we will be able to carry across places, and it is something that will be ubiquitous and everywhere, right? So I think an app, it's just so much more than an app. We just want to make it easier for people to access Ally, no matter what device they're using. That's it.
Awesome. I suppose this is, day zero for Ally. You've just kind of got the product out, but you've kind of, in many ways, you've been building this in public. You've been, you've had betas out there for quite a while. What has the initial response been to the launch of Ally?
So the initial response to Ally has actually been quite it's actually been a little overwhelming. I'll be honest, right? I think it's been positively overwhelming in most of the ways. So, for example, when we first launched Ally, we did not assume that giving allies personalities and making or personalizing Ally would be such a big deal. We threw it in there as a gimmick. We thought it would be quite interesting if people could just write their own personalities or backstories for allies. I think it was just a fun experiment that we wanted to do. But then all of a sudden, people are now writing all kinds of allies. People have allies that sound like Alfred from the Batman series, or like the Jack Sparrow from Pirates of the Caribbean. So it's people are just writing all kinds of personalities for their ally, and that was very a big positive surprise and something that people love. I think apart from that, we crossed over 2 million minutes of ally conversations just the last 3 months, right, with people on a beta. And we certainly didn't expect those big numbers. Like, we didn't expect millions of minutes of conversation that people would have. And yeah, it shows that Ally is something that people are using on a daily basis, and would like to give this kind of an assistant a shot.
Yeah, it is interesting. I was saying just before we started recording that I've seen use cases already where for some people Ally is, even among all those other apps, it is the best solution, which is really cool, especially for a version 1.0 of a product. So it's definitely you must be proud of the team over there. They've done a decent job.
Oh, I think I am extremely proud of the team. I think the team has done a remarkable job with keeping themselves sane through the process, because it's a new product, and some of us have not built a new product from the ground up. Like a lot of people who worked on the Ally project, they were people who joined Envision at maybe once the app was kind of in shape, they joined Envision at that time. So they've been around for quite some time. But building something like Ally from the ground up, which is a completely new type of product, for a lot of people who worked on the Ally, core product team, it was their actual first product launch. So from that perspective, I'm like very, very proud of the Envision team, and for like actually getting to this milestone. But at the same time, every one of us basically feels the responsibility of like, okay, now we're off to a good start, and I think there are early signs of people absolutely loving this. But we know we have more things to polish. We have a lot more things in the pipeline that we want to ship that we have not been able to ship for the last 3 or 4 weeks. We want to actually get down and start doing that. And we want to start addressing, other minor UX concerns that people are having, and focus more on localization and all of those things that are just as important for the app. So. Yeah.
Brilliant. So you mentioned there that this is entirely separate to the existing Envision app. The Envision app has been around for quite a while in numerous forms over the last couple of years. What led to the decision to make this an entirely new app as opposed to just repurposing or evolving the existing Envision app?
I think the idea was to really signal a clean break in the direction of things, right? So what we want to essentially tell with Ally is this is what we believe Envision would have been if we started building it in the year 2025. Right. So that is what Ally is basically, telling the world. And so we initially thought of actually having or like looking into whether we could take parts of the Envision app, use it here, and we definitely are. So a large part of Ally's core abilities basically come from the work we have done in the Envision app. But at the same time, the Envision app itself is too big, too complex to actually take it in a completely different direction, right? It's like you saying, okay, we've built a 2-story house, but then, okay, using this house as a base, let's actually build a skyscraper, right?
Yeah.
So that is not going to happen if, you'll have to basically start from scratch. Because then, your foundation is strong and you're able to build a skyscraper, but not essentially doing it on a 2-story house.
Sure.
So that is the idea with having to have a clean break and move towards Ally, is we wanted to build a skyscraper. And I think that ambition requires us to start from scratch many a times.
Interesting. So, Ally is a really cool product. So it as you kind of say there, you have a conversation with the Ally, and then you can request that it does certain things. So you can request, for example, that it takes a look at a document for you or anything like that. It can search the web. You can send it off to do web searches for you. It can do an awful lot of stuff. And I suppose one of the things that stands out is that Ally is at least currently free. Will that be the case in the longer run?
Most certainly not. Ally will not be entirely always free. It will be a freemium model. It's a model where there will be a free tier. So Ally will always be, a part of Ally will always be free, right? So either we can, give people access to all the features and then cap the number of minutes they can have a conversation with Ally, or we can figure out what's the right way to do it, right? There are some ideas early on how to do this. At the same time, it could be, a model where, okay, so people have a free tier, people have a paid tier, and they pay it per month. Or it could also be the case where people just pay for the minutes of usage. We'll have to see. We really have no set plans right now. I think, we still think of this phase that we are in as a little bit more of an extended time to test the app and to like really refine it and to keep working on things that people love. And at some point, yes, we will, we already have a note within the app that says if you have any, thoughts on how we should do our pricing, you can actually reach out to us at support@letsenvision.com. So that note is actually in the Envision Ally app at the moment. And that is just us trying to invite the community to have a dialogue with us to understand what could be a good pricing model for Ally, right? So that is to be decided.
And I suppose that Envision traditionally as well, well known for the Envision glasses. The Envision glasses, do you see this, I suppose, boosting the popularity of the glasses in the long run? And how do you see the glasses evolving? We've seen, obviously, likes of Meta Ray-Bans now coming in with some assistive technology, I suppose AI features, first and foremost, at a cheaper price point, significantly cheaper price point. How do you see that changing the space?
I think it is changing. It's definitely changing the space for the better, right? I think we basically don't want the price of the Envision glasses or any piece of assistive technology to actually be high, right? To actually be in a place where people are finding it difficult to afford this technology. I don't think any assistive device should be priced that way. But having said that, I think it is definitely quite, a sensational thing to say, hey, I've got a pair of AI glasses for $400, right? But I think once people really scratch the surface of that and go a little deeper and actually use these glasses, I think they'll come to realize that, there is a reason why something like the Envision glasses continues to exist and be popular. And that is because we've built the glasses specifically for blind or low vision people in mind. For example, I know smart glasses out there which ask you to download an app in order to go ahead and pair the glasses with the phone. But that particular app, despite it being made by a really popular company, isn't actually accessible to begin with, right? So if you have to stumble through a lot of these layers to like set up the glasses, and eventually when you use certain AIs, sometimes they might not be willing to read out the information that's in front of you. Like I've often seen videos of people trying to use some glasses to read, for example, a utility bill, right, or a bank statement, and the glasses simply refuse, or the AI would simply refuse to read out these things because it thinks it's personally identifiable information, so it would read it out to you. Whereas something like the Envision glasses would do that, would read it out to you, because it just assumes that, yes, you're someone who's blind or low vision, you're using the glasses and you want to have this information, and you should have this information and you can decide what to do with it.
Yeah, it's an interesting difference there, I suppose, that it is dedicated assistive technology, it isn't something that's being repurposed.
Exactly. So the thing is, I believe over time, products like the Ray-Ban Meta will be, more mainstream. But in order for them to actually be useful, for people who are blind or low vision, they need to invite developers like us to like build on top of their stuff, right? And they have to put out, and the hardware has to also get better. So it has to become more open. It has to get better. So from my perspective, and it might seem like, I'm saying it because I'm the founder of Envision, but from my perspective, the current hardware that we have with the Google Glass, that is indeed the best hardware for building something like Envision in the market today. I definitely believe that, because it's extremely open. And despite it being a 5-year-old device, it still has enough horsepower to actually, work with the AI of today, right? So those glasses came before the whole ChatGPT era, but they're still able to kind of hold well with these kind of models, and we're able to use them, and we're still pushing the boundaries of what those glasses can do. So yeah, I'm very bullish on the hardware we have right now, but I'm very excited also to work with Meta and other companies to see what the next generation of smart glasses can look like, and how do we actually make it useful for people who are blind or low vision.
What would you say, the next couple of months, even years, look like for Envision? Ally, you described it earlier as almost a new direction for Envision. Do you see that kind of evolving as time goes on? Where do you see Envision in the next kind of 2-3 years?
Very, very interesting question. I think in the short term, that is for the rest of the year, our aim is to focus on Ally. And from the initial kind of impressions that we have seen and whatever is there on the pipeline, I think we'd love to have at least 1 million people across the world using Ally by the end of the year, right? So we'd love to go ahead and actually have that kind of impact with Ally, and I strongly believe we can do that in the next few months. We have things like, more integrations coming out in the next few months. And we also have, for example, being able to import file types and all of the stuff that, people have been asking for. A whole bunch of features, 12 features probably are going to be added to Ally in the coming, months. That's in the short term. In the long term, Envision wants to be the kind of company that basically becomes a preferred choice, or becomes sort of the default accessibility solution that helps people, not just who are blind or low vision, to live more independently. But I think we want to kind of expand its impact to other disabilities that we think Envision can help with as well. So we're already starting to talk to people in the elder care space. We're definitely talking to people, who are having some kind of cognitive disability that we can actually use Envision to help with. So we kind of want to expand the circle and try to see if we can make a bigger impact with I think communities adjacent to the blind or low vision community that we can have an impact. And dyslexia is also another place that we're looking at. So that's definitely where we want to be. And it could be on any medium. We could be on a wearable, we could be on glasses. And I just want to have Envision on as many of the mainstream tech devices of that time, and basically offer that kind of assistance.
Karthik, a pleasure as always. Thanks so much for joining us on Talking Technology, and congratulations to you and the team on the launch of Ally. If people do want to find out more about Ally, they can check out ally.me. That's ALLY.me. Or you can also search for Envision Ally on the App Store, and you should find that there. And you can download it free, at least for now. But Karthik, for now, thank you so much. And who knows, I'm sure we'll be talking to you again on another episode of Talking Technology.
Thank you so much, David. And I hope to be back very soon. Yeah, thank you.
And there you have it. That is our interview with Karthik Kannan. He is one of the co-founders of Envision, best known, of course, for their Envision Glasses, but they have just released their Ally app, available to download now on the App Store, and sounds like there's some interesting stuff to come for sure. We'll have news in just a bit, but a reminder that if you do want to get in touch with us, maybe you have tried Envision Ally, maybe you've tried the Envision Glasses, maybe you have thoughts that you would like to share, we'd love to hear from you. You can send us a WhatsApp voice note. The number you need there is 086 199 0011, or you can also feel free to get in touch with us using the email address content@vi.ie. But now though, it's time for the new act on Talking Technology, and we're handing back to Dennis Nolan.
This is Talking Technology News.
Thanks again, David. So with your latest talking technology news, I'm Dennis. Amazon have launched a new Amazon.ie website. The new website is specifically aimed at the Irish market, which traditionally would have used the sites of Amazon UK, or increasingly sites from across the EU. Amazon.ie aims to give the customers the same kind of selection compared with the UK site without the need to pay costly import fees. The new store will also soon be getting a Brands of Ireland section, which might help some of those businesses that could be impacted by the new site. Some of the Irish brands already on board include exercise brand Swifter and Barry's Tea. Amazon Prime memberships don't cross over from one Amazon site to the other, but many of the same benefits are available in Ireland, including free delivery, Prime Video, and a year's free access to Deliveroo Plus. They have also thrown in discounted tickets to Odeon cinemas in a bid to sweeten the deal. Will you be shopping on the new Amazon.ie website? Let us know your thoughts now. In other news this week, popular airline Emirates announced a new partnership with Be My Eyes. As part of the new deal, Emirates will operate flights between Dublin and Dubai. Emirates will be available in the service directory of the Be My Eyes app. When users need support with a flight, they can use the app to connect with the Emirates contact center. Emirates will then be able to see through the user's phone camera and provide support via a one-way video and two-way audio call. It's not clear when the new deal will begin, but accessing travel can often be difficult for those with sight loss, and this looks like a move in the right direction. Emirates isn't the only airline making waves this week, as Ryanair have announced a new subscription service. Ryanair Prime costs €79 a year and offers free reserved seats, free travel insurance, and access to 12 annual sales. That's one sale each month for the duration of the 12-month subscription. Ryanair are limiting Prime to 250,000 signups, so they are really trying to make the service sound quite exclusive. Do you think an airline subscription service is worth it? Which airline do you find the most and least accessible? Again, let us know with a WhatsApp voice note. And finally, for now, a number of video game makers have come together to launch a project called the Accessible Games Initiative. The project aims to make it clearer what accessibility features are available in different games, so users don't have to play a guessing game before the purchase. A new set of standardized labels have been created to depict a variety of accessibility features, with all participating game makers following the standardized tags and definitions for the features in their games. Those involved in the project include Electronic Arts, Google, Microsoft, Nintendo, Sony Interactive Entertainment, and Ubisoft. With Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo involved, all three of the big gaming platform providers will be participating. That will include Sony PlayStation, Microsoft Xbox, and Nintendo's Switch. Nintendo have already confirmed that they plan to add tags to My Nintendo store soon. Hopefully, the Accessible Games Initiative will improve the transparency of accessible games and encourage more inclusive design in the gaming world. You can learn more about the project on accessiblegames.com. And that's it for now. Want to learn more about accessible technology? Why not try a Vision Ireland Labs training course? You can check out our upcoming courses by going to the upcoming events section of the Vision Ireland website, vi.ie. For now, though, it's back to you, David.
Thanks, Dennis, and thank you so much for sharing it. What are your thoughts there? Do you think that that new gaming initiative, do you see it making much of an impact, Dennis?
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's got great potential, David. I've through the time I've had in Vision Ireland, had many people we work for and support that would love to have more accessibility in the gaming world. So I think it's got great potential, and by the looks of it, with those big names in coming into it or going to do more in that space, I think it can only be good news.
I think it's interesting. We're expecting the Nintendo Switch 2 to launch in the coming months, and we did an article there for Tech on Tap recently about the lack of a screen reader on the Nintendo Switch. So it's interesting to see that Nintendo are, in many respects, one of the biggest advocates for this accessibility. So it might hopefully be an indication that they're at least paying attention to stuff, and maybe would include a screen reader in the future. Hard to say. But Dennis, you're back from CSUN. I know. Thank you as well for joining us on the last podcast to chat about it. But what was your impression afterwards? How did you get on?
Yeah, I am aware. Of course, Karthik was there also, and he was mentioning the weather. He said he got some of the sun, but the weather was actually very similar to Ireland. It was fast and furious, David. We got, as you know, Monday evening, and then we had Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, where we went through to many talks and then looked at some technologies. I think one of the things that was stand out, there's a lot of competing technology, as you know, and companies that are selling the same type of technology with much the same going on. Wearables, for example, the glasses we spoke about just a while ago, there were, I would say, 3 to 4 competing brands, most of them doing the same thing. AI is a big thing in all of this technology now. And I think that they were all proclaiming that was a great feature on theirs, I could see. So I think that was one of the things that stood out. I also, as I was looking, I met Stevie Wonder there, which was wonderful for me, because I would have been very much a fan of his music. But besides that, I was very much into the technology.
Good. Did you get a photo with Stevie Wonder? Have you got the proof, Dennis?
I got a photo of Stevie Wonder, David, from a distance. He was there was people around him all the time. I think the fame went before him. They were all trying to get a talk to him.
Fair enough. Well, there you go. Look, you got within distance of Stevie
I
Wonder.
did. I did.
Which is great. Joe, I want to bring you in here as well. There we see in the news, Emirates have announced a new partnership with Be My Eyes. Be My Eyes having lots of these partnerships, getting new partnerships along the way, but also some partnerships seem to be ending. Lego notably appears to have disappeared from the services directory there recently. It's interesting to see new partnerships popping up though, isn't it?
It is interesting to see new partnerships popping up. Apart from the Emirates one, I know there was one with an airport in Rome as well, and they're speaking about having a partnership in airports with QR codes and all that kind of thing. So sometimes, well, they can be, maybe there can't be too many partnerships, but as you've seen, a couple of partnerships have fallen by the wayside, notably Lego. Maybe there wasn't anybody calling Lego, or there wasn't the need for the Lego one in the end. It probably was a good idea, but some ideas never become fruitful, maybe because people don't have the confidence to use them, or it hasn't been advertised enough that it was actually there, or whatever the reason may be. It's a pity to see it fall by the wayside. But I fair play to Be My Eyes though for giving it a good go and giving it a try. I'd be interested to know how much used some of the other partnerships are, like Sky, which does sound like a great service too, but at the same time you can call an accessibility line by phone to Sky as well for people that know of that service. So there's many different ways of skinning a cat, but one way is using Be My Eyes, and it's great to see them having these partnerships.
It is, I think. And, you raise a valid point, though, about and this is something that I've been quite aware of in certain situations as well, that I think there needs to be, like, if we want more, I suppose, accessible services to exist, I think people need to really use them as well. Like, I've noticed this with audio described theatre. I've said here before how I love theatre. I love going to shows the odd time as well, and I think it can be a shame sometimes that there might be an audio described performance of something, and it would be a shame that people wouldn't avail of that. I think sometimes you make a valid point as well, though, Joe, about how that can sometimes come down to confidence as well. And, you know, it can be, you know, unnerving or kind of, I suppose, uncomfortable to call the likes of a, you know, a Be My Eyes staff member because you want to do Lego or something like that. You know, I can see why people would feel uncomfortable with that, but these accessibility services, they're there for a reason, and I think it's good to acknowledge them, and if we do have a use for them, it's good to avail of that. But there you go. Joe, we also saw, it's not in the tech news there as well, but Meta AI is rolling out in a limited form in Ireland and the rest of the EU, but no visual descriptions just yet. Meta saying that they hope to reach parity with the US in the coming months. Is this a disappointment? Is this a cop-out? How are you kind of feeling about it?
Well, it's not a cop-out, as Meta have to, they are being held back by EU regulations, so which in one way is quite a good thing, because we don't want Facebook and other social network companies taking over too much. As you can see already, it's even hard to get the attention of a person beside you. They're stuck in their phone looking at Facebook or taking a picture and snapping it and sending it to their friends of what they had for dinner. You know what I mean? So I think sometimes it can be too much, you know, but as long as they follow the regulations and we get visual assistants in the long run, it's all okay. But as you said, we don't want people to get carried away by this news that Meta is coming into our region, because it's only text-based at the moment. No visual assistance, so I wouldn't be running out to buy a set of Meta Ray-Ban glasses just yet, because you'll still be held back by regulations. You'll have to jump through a few hoops before you can actually use them. You'll have to use a VPN, which we're not advising. Look, it's better that it's taken slowly and they do follow the regulations. We know there's famous Netflix documentaries about Instagram and all those things. So look, we know how dangerous, how valuable it is for Meta to be involved and Facebook to be involved. But we also know how dangerous it is for these things to take over too quickly. So I think it's okay right now, but we'll give it time, and hopefully the EU are doing their job and Meta are doing their job, and eventually we'll come to meet in the middle and receive visual assistance in our smart glasses, whether they be Meta or something else.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a logical take. I think it's going to be interesting to see what the next few months look like. Notably, the only thing I've seen from the Meta AI so far is the press releases, even in the Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp apps, Messenger I had a look at as well. I haven't actually seen anything roll out, but that press release has been out for 5 days now. So maybe something will come in the next week or two, but we still have time to wait for visual assistance. So that is something that's worth keeping in mind. I know people, as you say, Joe, are going roundabout ways of doing that, but that does do all sorts. It can, I think, void your warranty and various other things like that as well. So we're definitely not advising that people do that, because it's you're not supposed to do it, see, Joe. You're not supposed to do it. But there you go. So that is your latest news for this week. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Dennis. Much appreciated. If you do want to send us your thoughts on any of the news that we covered this week, or indeed you spot something in the news that you would like to share with us, you can send us a WhatsApp voice note to 086 199 0011, or send us an email to content@vi.ie. But hey, that is about our show for this week. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time for episode 81. So remember to subscribe on all of your favourite podcast apps. And you can also subscribe to the VI Labs YouTube channel. Just search for VI Labs Accessibility and you will find our YouTube channel there, and you can subscribe to that if you would like to get all the latest from Talking Technology, or our newsletter Tech on Tap. You can sign up for that as well on our website vi.ie. But for now, that is us done for another week. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time for another episode of Talking Technology with VI Labs. See you then.
Thanks for listening to the Talking Technology podcast with VI Labs. If you'd like to support our show, please visit vi.ie/donate. Talking Technology is proudly sponsored by IA Labs, the market leader in digital accessibility services. IA Labs, digital inclusion, your legal obligation.